Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live weekly chat, and this is Talk of the Crown. Let me just move that so you get a better view. Let me just see if the lighting is good as well. I'm just gonna turn up the light and just see if that's any better. Oh no, it's a bit glary. Right, we will leave it at that. I will take the glasses off because I think it's a bit reflective, and we'll leave it like that. So hello and welcome. I do hope you've all had an amazing week, and today I am wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. I hope you all like it very, very much. And I am coming to you at 7 p.m. GMT on a Sunday. Now, as you all know, I am kind of feeling my way with a bit of a new schedule. So at the very, very top of this chat, I want to ask you guys a question. How does Sundays at this time, 7 p.m. GMT, feel for you? Now, going forwards, this could be a time that I could do. Maybe not the full hour and a half like I used to do, but certainly 45 minutes at least on a Sunday. I may have to cancel if I'm going out somewhere and reschedule for a different time in the week. But I'm kind of feeling that 7 p.m. GMT could be a good time, a kind of happy compromise for most people. But just, be aware that if I am going off out somewhere or doing something, then, it could be a reschedule. So if you're okay with that, do let me know your thoughts. I am trying to kind of, get into a new schedule and a new routine. So today, we are going to be covering quite a few stories. There's been quite a few things happening. It is December the 1st. Can you believe it? December the 1st already. My goodness, hasn't this year gone by so quickly? In just, 3 and a bit weeks, it will be Christmas. My goodness. So, we are going to be talking about Queen Elizabeth's statement about what's been happening in London. We're going to be talking about Charles and Camilla, who have been spotted in Sandringham today. We're going to be talking about Prince Charles's plans to strip back the monarchy to the core members. There's also been new information that's come to light about Prince Andrew involving his business activities whilst being a trade envoy. We're going to be briefly touching on the Virginia Roberts Panorama interview, which is due to air tomorrow, Monday, BBC One at 9 p.m. William and Catherine have revealed some bake-off photos where they have been doing some baking with Mary Berry, the one and only Mary Berry. And also, we're going to be talking about the SUSSEX'S new Instagram account follows for the month of December. So we have quite a bit to get through. So I'm going to kind of go into it. Let me just read a few comments. Tammy says, please make it an hour though. Well, I can certainly try. Janice thinks you like this time, but we'll finally be able to catch you live instead of on catch up. Sonia says it's 8 a.m. Monday morning in New Zealand, so it would work for about 30 minutes for you. Alicia says, will Harry and Meghan count as core members? Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that when I kind of do that story. Queen Elizabeth the Adorable is here, who says, hello, my lovely subjects. Hello to you, your majesty, wherever you may be right now. Elizabeth Vagina says, like the time. Thank you. And James Medford said, good morning, Britain is now dictating. The Duke of York's title will be taken away. Only the Queen gives and takes titles. Well, I can agree with you there. The Queen is the only one who can give and take away titles. And I don't think anything like that will be jumped upon quickly. I don't think anything like that will be like a knee-jerk reaction to what's going on at the moment. I think what will happen is what's going on at the moment will play out. Whichever way it's going to go, it will play out. Then there will be a reaction. Once it's played out and reached some kind of conclusion, then there will be a reaction. Whether or not the Queen would actually decide to remove a title, I don't personally think that would happen, although it's not, it's not impossible. It's not impossible. The Queen could revoke a title if that is how she felt. So it's not impossible, but it's probably not probable, if you know what I mean. So we're going to have to watch the space on that one. However, a permanent retirement, depending on how things go, could most definitely be on the cards. I think that is more likely if it all plays out in a negative way from Andrew's point of view, if you get what I mean. So again, we are going to have to wait and see entirely what happens on that one. Right, I'm going to go straight into the first story, which is a message from Her Majesty the Queen following the attacks at London Bridge. Now, of course, it was terrible. It was absolutely dreadful. And the heroism of general members of the public should not be underestimated or not mentioned. And I'm going to read now the message from the Queen. So this was published the 30th of November 2019, and it reads, Prince Philip and I have been saddened to hear of the attacks at London Bridge. We send our thoughts, prayers and deepest sympathies to all those who have lost loved ones and who have been affected by yesterday's terrible violence. I express my enduring thanks to the police and emergency services, as well as the brave individuals who put their own lives at risk to selflessly help and protect others. Signed, Elizabeth R. And I am so glad that the Queen mentioned, obviously, the emergency services, the police, but she also expressed, most definitely, her thanks to the individual members of the public who did indeed put their lives at risk in those attacks. So I just thought I would read that message from the Queen. Let's have a look what people are saying. I think people are still digesting that, so people are still commenting on the earlier comments. Live Love and Laugh says, it is negative to this point, even if he's innocent till proven guilty. Yes, but obviously, you know, we live in a land where you have to go through legal processes. So I don't think anything will be jumped upon, no matter how it looks. No matter how it looks at the moment, I don't think anything will be jumped upon until such times as a legal process has been gone through. So like I say, I don't think we will have a reaction on it until it has played out whichever way it's going to do. Southern Lady thinks that Andrew should retire permanently. And let's have a look. Queen Elizabeth says, I wink at everyone in the chat. Oh, I am says, please discuss why Prince William travelled to the Middle East today. I will be doing reports on his engagements tomorrow. So I'm going to leave that because that's going to be something that I'll be working on tomorrow. Palmer Lee Stevens says, hello, just got here, missed the earlier comments. We haven't been going for very long, so don't worry. So there we go. Oh, what tiara am I wearing tonight? It is the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. I think the fatality count is 2, but 3 if you include the person who perpetrated the crime. Barbie says, take your time with Talk of the Crown. It's getting too long for some. They can always watch the rest on catch up. Lots of news to cover each week. There most definitely is. Elect Lady, right, we're going to get to that story a little bit later. Queen Elizabeth says, if anyone is wondering, one doesn't have a favourite tiara. One loves them all, as I'm most certainly sure that you would. Right, the next story that I want to talk about today is Charles and Camilla. They have been spotted out and about at Sandringham. So, they are spending the weekend at Sandringham. Now, I've got some photos to share, so I will post the link. If you're watching on Catch Up, I will put the link in the description so you can follow too. So again, I'm not going to terribly read the article, but they have attended church at Sandringham today, and they walked. So this is how and why we got these photographs. They wrapped up incredibly warm, and it does say that they looked in high spirits, and I can confirm that they did indeed look in high spirits. There's also a video, if you want to watch it, of them walking. It's been cold. It's been very, very cold today. It's been icy. It's been icy in the UK over the past few days. And what Camilla in particular is wearing is most definitely reflecting that. We have a nice long coat. I think she's carrying a scarf, a clutch bag, and she has a big, furry, fluffy hat. Now, we know that the royals are not buying or wearing any brand new pieces of fur. I think they are following mostly the Queen's example. I don't know about certain other royals. I can't vouch for Princess Michael of Kent, who I am sure is probably still going to wear her furs, but, you know, that's by and by at this point. That's her decision, I'm sure. But certainly, I think Camilla, the senior royals, are going to be sensitive towards fur. So I would imagine that is probably a faux fur hat. I mean, obviously, we don't have any official comment on whether it's fur or faux fur, but I'm imagining Camilla is probably quite sensitive to that kind of issue. So I'm imagining it is faux fur. Don't they look a lovely couple? I have to say, I'm looking at the photographs. It's just of them walking, but they do look, they look adorable, I have to say. And, you know, I think Camilla is going to make a lovely queen, I have to say. At one point, it kind of looked like Charles was having a bit of a cold. I've had a bit of a sniffle this week. They are carrying an umbrella. Well, Charles is carrying an umbrella, just in case. There are some well-wishers, not as many as what line the route when it's Christmas. Of course, everyone is going to be really, really glued for Christmas Day. I will be no exception. I'll be watching what they're all wearing on Christmas Day. So there we go. I mean, it does say a fur-trimmed hat, but I'm thinking faux fur. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think it's faux fur? Do you think it's real fur? Queen Elizabeth the Adorable says, and one is sure you are all excited for the annual Christmas message. Oh, yes. Most definitely. I cannot wait, Your Majesty. And in fact, it's this time in the year when I always start to write my own Christmas message. If you haven't seen, if you don't know, if you're new to the channel, I do post an annual Christmas Day message in the style of Her Majesty the Queen, and I've done it for the past 3 years. So there are 3 Christmas messages. I recently went back and watched them, and they've progressively got better, I have to say. But I do write my own speech. So it's that point in the year where I need to start thinking about a theme, and then I start to construct my own Christmas message. Last year, I was very, very in sync with the Queen. My message and her message were both very, very similar. And no, we were not on the phone talking, sharing ideas. I was I was very much in sync with the Queen last year. So it's time that I started writing my own. And hopefully this year's will be even better than last year's. Catsy Healer says, I am warming up to Camilla and Charles, but it's day by day, depending on how Meghan and Harry are treated. Carmen Lowe says, I love your Christmas messages. If you want to find them, just type in Royal Reviewer Christmas Message in the search, and all 3 of them will come up. Alicia says, you should do your own Christmas message. I have. I've done 3. I've done 3 for the past 3 years, and I will be doing one this year too. Elizabeth Regina says, will the Queen, etc., still wear the fur owned in the past? I think so, for state occasions. So, for example, you know, any proper big royal state events, if a fur is worn, it most likely will be an original antique fur. I mean, I must say, a lot of the Queen's furs are very, very old. However, I think what the message was that the Queen won't be having any new furs. She won't be wearing any, for example, any trim on her hats or gloves or whatever it might be that is, you know, new fur. And I also predict that there will be a reduction in the amount of use of the old furs. So, for example, maybe we'll see less at Christmas. I mean, traditionally the Queen might wear, for example, fur-trimmed hat, for example, in the winter or at Christmas. I think we'll see a reduction in that. We may even see a complete switch or a substitute at some point. But I think at the moment the message was that she wasn't going to replace any new ones, or she wasn't going to come up with anything new in terms of fur. And I do think that will filter through the family, but who knows about the extended members of the family. Mikhail has also been warming up to both Charles and Camilla in the last few years. Lots of people saying hello. Right, I'm going to move on to the next story, which is about the plans of Prince Charles to strip back the monarchy to just William, Harry, and their wives and children. So basically, Charles, Camilla, his children, William, Harry, and his grandchildren. So kind of think of it like a pyramid, kind of like a pyramid effect. Now, I will say, we do not know how true this is. It's long been suggested in the media and picked up on in the media that Charles wants to strip back the monarchy. Again, from those early reports, we do not know if that is true or not. Prince Charles hasn't actually himself spoken about this, so we don't actually know. However, with what's been going on in the world of Prince Andrew right now, I think the press has picked up on this kind of, will Andrew, won't Andrew have his title taken away? Will he, won't he be completely retired from royal duties? And they've kind of gone with this story again. And I think this time they're trying to kind of almost say that Prince Charles is, going to kind of use this as an opportunity to strip back the monarchy, use this situation to kind of rein it in. And we've had, a senior politician also commenting, Jeremy Corbyn, leader of the opposition, has also said that he thinks that the royal family is too big. There's also obviously been the talk of Prince Charles taking over from the Queen when she reaches 95, which is roughly 18 months. Jeremy Corbyn, leader of the opposition, by the way, this is kind of pertinent because we are going through a general election here in the UK right now. And obviously Jeremy Corbyn, leader of the Labour Party, has the chance of, just as much as any of the other candidates, of being the next Prime Minister. So his comments are rather pertinent towards the monarchy. So he told Sophie Ridge of Sky News, "I do think the question of the size of the family and all that they do, but I do think the public as a whole would want to see those kind of changes, and the debate around the behaviour of Prince Andrew has actually brought this to the fore." Probed further, Sophie Ridge asked, "So you think it's a bit too big, effectively?" And he responded, "Well, I think there's a lot of people attached to the royal family." So there we go. He thinks it's too big in terms of the extended family. I have to say, on a personal level, I kind of disagree on the fact that the family is too big. When you look at the work that all of them do, including the work that Prince Andrew did up until the point when he withdrew from all of the charities and patronages, it's all very important work. And the one thing that I most certainly would not like to see is any of the charities, organisations, whatever it might be, missing out on a royal patron. And also, if you, for example, put all of those organisations and charities into just a very narrow pyramid, the amount of attention and the level of involvement that a working royal would be able to give to those charities would be less. And I don't know, I just wouldn't want to see that. As much as obviously it costs extra money to keep, a kind of a broad working royal family, I kind of think it's necessary to those charities, organisations, and also the role of the monarchy to be seen by the public as doing incredibly good work. At the moment, the Queen's cousins are still working very, very hard. They are doing a really amazing job with all the work that they do. Just this week, I posted a video of the Duke of Gloucester and what he's been up to. So you can all see that it's very, very, very worthwhile work. And I, for one, would not want to see that reduced. And we don't even know if Prince Charles actually wants this to happen. So, again, we are going to have to wait. Just like most of royal watching, it all comes down to waiting to see what Charles will do once he does become king. Obviously, once the Queen herself and her cousins are no longer in active royal service for whatever reasons, there will be a smaller monarchy. It will just happen, regardless of whether Charles intends it to be. There will be a smaller, reduced monarchy. I only hope that there will be a role for Beatrice and Eugenie to pick up a bit of that slack. I think then, as far as I'm concerned, there will be a role required for the princesses to pick up a bit of that slack. And of course, when Charles's grandchildren are eventually of age, they could also pick up a bit of slack. We don't know what the plans are regarding Archie. I know a lot of you are going to be saying, well, what about Archie? What about Archie? We know that Meghan and Harry have not taken up the courtesy title for Archie. We do not know whether they will take up Archie's birthright as in law at the moment, that when Charles becomes king, Archie is entitled to be HRH and Prince of the United Kingdom. We do not know what Harry and Meghan intend for Archie. So again, we have to wait and see what will happen with regards to that. Right, I'm going to kind of see what people are saying at the moment. Julie says, it seems like Anne should be kept as a working royal since she works very hard. She does indeed, and I kind of forgot to mention, obviously, Charles's siblings, who do an amazing job. I mean, I really would not like to see Anne stripped of her royal duties. What would she do? She would go crazy. Imagine not working. Anne does about 50 million engagements before breakfast. I mean, come on. She is the hardest working royal regularly out there. So I would not like to see Anne stripped. I think Edward and Sophie do an amazing job. No, I would not like to see any of the charities losing out. Liv Love says the balcony is getting smaller. Yes, kind of, in terms of when, Philip's not there anymore. I mean, I wouldn't say that the balcony is necessarily getting smaller, but obviously once the Queen's cousins and extended family reduce, but then it will be kind of picked up a bit by the bottom end, if you know what I mean, eventually. Elizabeth Regina says, I think stripping would be to second DRT... Oh. What second DRT royals? Am I not picking up on something? Alicia says, I hope Archie becomes a prince. To be honest, I do too. But we do not know what Harry and Meghan intend for Archie. It will be up to them. It will be up to Harry and Meghan. I don't think Charles will want to limit or restrict Archie's birthright. I definitely don't think any... If, for example, Harry and Meghan decide not to give Archie the HRH and the Prince style, I think it will be their decision. I don't think they will be pushed into anything. Oh, secondary. Sorry, I wasn't reading that right. So Elizabeth Gina says, I think stripping would be secondary royals. In terms of like the really, really, really far off, maybe. But I think what really matters is who is the working royal, who's classed as being a working royal. And I don't think there are too many working royals for my liking. The more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned. Betty Martin said, talking to Elderly Poodle. Kathy G says, Archie can be a prince but not a working royal. Technically, yes, under the current rules, he could take up his birthright and also not be a working royal. So that would be up to Charles. So Charles could decide when Archie's older if he wanted him to be a working royal or not. But obviously, I think he would take take into account what Archie actually wants for himself when he's older. So, you know, would Archie want to serve the country, you know, and be a working royal and almost follow in his mother and father's footsteps in terms of charity work? Or would he have his own ideas about what he wanted to do with his life? So all of that would have to be taken into account. And I don't think Charles will force anyone to do anything they don't want to do. Mikhail, or rather William, maybe by that time. Could be William. H.A. Bracken says, but didn't the King of Sweden take away the titles from his grandchildren? I'm not entirely sure about the King of Sweden, but, I mean, technically Charles could, but I don't think he would. Larissa says, I think Charles will do like the Swedish king. You will keep the HRH for just the heirs. We will have to wait and see what happens when Charles is king. Tammy says, do you really think Eugenie wants to be an official royal? I think both sisters would actually quite like it. I do. We don't know for sure, but I get the feeling that they would. CH says, if Charles slims down the monarchy, I think his sister Princess Anne and his younger brother should remain as working royals, plus the Cambridges, Sussex'S and the York sisters, not the cousins. Alicia, I agree. I think it will be up to Archie. Right, I'm going to move on to the next story. So, the next story is about Prince Andrew. I mean, it's all going on, isn't it? So I've always said that I will talk about what's going on as long as it is something new and it's not things that are being rehashed, because of course you do have to be incredibly careful what you say when it comes to an ongoing legal issue of this type, especially when these sorts of accusations are being put to an individual that hasn't actually gone to a trial or had any formal charge against that individual. So we have to be very, very careful, and I do thank everybody for being really, really understanding about that. But we do have something new, and there has been some news this week about Prince Andrew's dealing with certain individuals. I'm talking about billionaires in connection to how Andrew supports himself, his family, and his lifestyle. So this relates to the period when he was the UK's official trade ambassador, trade envoy. So Andrew was sent around the world by the UK government. That's when he acquired his nickname of Air Miles Andy, and he came in for a lot of criticism about how much he would kind of, you know, go away at the taxpayer's expense. But of course, it wasn't necessarily of his own choosing, it was at the request of the government. However, it turns out in a series of emails, which I do not have the actual translation of the emails, but it turns out that in the emails there were certain revelations that he was actually using these trade missions, these trade engagements to also kind of further the investments of his rich and wealthy friends. One in particular was mentioned here is the financier David Rowland. So it says in the article I'm reading, bombshell emails, which I have to say I haven't seen, reveal that while on official trade missions meant to promote UK business, Andrew was quietly plugging a private Luxembourg-based bank for the super rich, owned by Rowland and his family. And the only reason I'm reading this without having actually seen the emails is because it does say that there are emails. So obviously, they would be able to prove, you know, that they should be able to produce these emails. And of course, it's being classed as a conflict of interest. Also, what was revealed is, for example, one of his charities and initiatives pitch at the palace. He does actually receive 2% of the revenues from that. So anything that is kind of produced from that, he has been receiving up to 2%. However, I think his representatives have denied that he has taken up that clause. So we do not know at the moment whether or not he actually took up that clause or not. It does say that in the emails, one exchange reveals that when Andrew was facing the sack from his envoy role, now his envoy role did end. Again, there was lots of talk about the airmails and Andy, but also it ended round about the time of the Jeffrey Epstein initial, when it first came out initially years ago. It ended then. Possibly in connection to that. So it was suggested in emails that the commercial activities could continue under the radar, and Andrew responded in the emails, "I like your thinking." So all of this obviously has now come to the fore. I'm going to move on again very swiftly, because it is all connected, to the Virginia Roberts Panorama interview, which is actually going to take place tomorrow on BBC One at 9 p.m. So all I can say at the moment is that that interview is going to happen. I haven't watched it yet. It hasn't aired. So I will be watching it, just like I watched the Prince Andrew one. And of course, I will be talking about that in due course. Now, just like what I did with the Prince Andrew interview, I waited a few days because I knew, having watched it, that it was fairly explosive. And I wanted to wait and see what the reaction was from Andrew, from the parties in America, from the press, from the public. And I think I was right to do so, because by the time I actually brought you my video on the Prince Andrew interview, I was able to give you a fully rounded view of what was actually going on. And I think I'm probably going to do the same for the Virginia Roberts interview. So I will watch it, and then I will probably hold back and wait a few days before I actually bring you my thoughts, my opinions on the whole big picture. Because I think with this type of situation, scenario, I think it's really, really good to know the whole picture, not just one tiny fragment of it. Because I do think that this interview may spark a whole new chapter in this developing, ongoing story, whatever you want to call it. But yes, so I'm probably going to wait a few days, digest what's gone on, and then bring you what I think about the Virginia Roberts interview. I don't know if it's available overseas. It will probably end up on the internet or YouTube in some capacity. Let's just see what people are saying about it all. I know lots of people are making comments about it. Kathy G says Archie should get a title for security purposes. His mother and father will always be famous, like it or not. Just prepare him for his future. Mona Lisa Smile says, I'm glad Panorama has been extended to a full hour tomorrow night. Speak your truth, Virginia. Yes, it has been extended. So it was going to be 30 minutes. It's been extended to a full 60. Frazzled Halos says, whether Andrew was involved or not, I don't think anything will happen to Andrew. Again, we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out. Barbie says, you are wise. You let the royal dust settle before commenting. You are well balanced. Thank you for that. I do try. I most definitely try my best. Marilyn says, yes, the international YouTube is amazing. Well, I'm sure it will appear there somewhere. Hello to Pam in New Zealand. Hello to you. Francis says, don't mention the e-name or YouTube. Oh, yeah. I will try not to mention... I do try not to mention certain words. That is true. So that's kind of all we know at the moment with regards to that. And again, I do not know what the repercussions of Andrew being involved potentially in any sort of improper transactions with regard to business deals. We haven't had the kind of full fallout from that. If anything were to happen, it would probably have to undergo some kind of investigation about that. Mikkel says, good idea regarding the Virginia Roberts interview. I think so. I think it is the best thing to do. Larissa says, you didn't talk about the Cambridges and Mary Berry Christmas because I haven't finished yet, but I am going to move on to that. It is there somewhere. In fact, it's next on my list. So, I am actually reading the Kensington Royal Instagram account where they have posted some photographs, and I do intend to turn those photographs into a video tomorrow. So, I'm going to post, let me copy the link, and I will share it with you all in the group. And again, I'll put it on catch up for later. So you can open this one in safety. It is the Kensington Royal Instagram account. So we have a series of photographs including Mary Berry. And it reads, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have joined forces with cookery legend Mary Berry to prepare festive food to thank all those working and volunteering over the Christmas period. Swipe the pictures for a taster of what to expect from a Berry Royal Christmas. And I have to say, I am really, really looking forward to this. So, number one, the Duke and Duchess and Mary, along with some very special guests, including Nadia Hussain, who won the Bake Off a couple of years ago, host a Christmas party, yay, to thank and acknowledge staff and volunteers from charities and organisations who will be working tirelessly over the Christmas period. 2. At RHS Wisley, Mary joins with the Duchess behind the scenes to learn more about the Duchess's commitment to early years in raising the next generation of happy, healthy children. Of course, Catherine's speciality area in her royal work. Number 3, the Duke and Mary visit the Passage charity, the UK's largest resource centre for homeless and insecurely housed people, which has helped over 130,000 people in crisis through its resource centre, homelessness prevention projects, and 2 innovative accommodation services. Number 4, at the Brink, the UK's first dry bar set up by Action Addiction to provide a safe space for people who are suffering from addiction. The Duchess and Mary meet the inspiring people whose lives have been changed by the help and support of the charity. So a Berry Royal Christmas, that's a mouthful, airs Monday the 16th of December at 8:30 p.m. on BBC One. And I, for one, cannot wait to see it. If you flip through the photographs, the cakes look amazing. Mary Berry looks amazing. I love Catherine's outfit. I love Mary's outfit. It looks like in one of the photographs, Catherine is actually trying to ice a cake. And obviously, I can see a photograph where Mary is kind of sat in a discussion with William. That looks really interesting too. So we will find out lots and lots and lots about the charities, the different work that's been going on. And yes, I really, really, really cannot wait to see all of that. Let's go to the chat room and see what people are saying. Larissa says, that will be the best Christmas ever, I have to say. Yes, River of Life Fellowship. This is the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Sharon says they made meringues. Very eagle-eyed, and they all look delicious. Queen Elizabeth the Adorable says, who thinks one should dress up as a female Father Christmas whilst giving gifts to one's beloved family members? Go for it, Your Majesty. In fact, you should do your Christmas speech dressed as Santa. That would be amazing. Barbie Longfellow says, I can't wait to see the Christmas special. Tidings of Joy with Mary Berry. Oh yes, that will be incredible. Jan says, just finished The Other Side of the Coin. Good read. I've still got mine to read. I'm a bit behind with it all, I have to say. Next, moving on to my final story of the day. Of course, it is the 1st of the month. And what happens on the 1st of the month? Sussex Royal Instagram change the accounts that they follow. So today we have a new Instagram post, which I will copy and share the link to you all right now. There you go. And they are following some new accounts. So I'm going to read the message first, then we'll go through the accounts. So, Sussex Royal says, with the festive holiday season upon us, it's also a reminder to reflect on those in need, those who may feel lonely, hungry, homeless, or may be experiencing the holidays for the first time without loved ones. It's an important time of the year to help those around you who may be less fortunate indeed, or who would appreciate even the smallest act of kindness. Continuing our monthly tradition of highlighting accounts that do good and inspiring, and inspired by the 12 days of Christmas, we have selected 12 organisations caring for those in need, especially at this time of year. There are thankfully so many organisations around the world doing good on global and grassroots levels, many of which are not on Instagram. Check out the accounts we have chosen and please share those in your own communities that are making a difference. We would love to hear about the ones that inspire you, so please tell us and add your country's flag. There we go, and images used are from the accounts that they are following. So I'm going to go to their account now. So far, they have 165 posts. My goodness, that has really gone quick. They have 9.9 million followers and are currently following 12 accounts. So we have Scotty's Little Soldiers, we have Fair Share UK, the Felix Project, Shelter Charity, the Armed Forces Charity, Life Wise Ends, Centrepoint, St Felix Centre, Trussell Trust, Social Bite, the La Mission, the Los Angeles Mission that should be, and the Salvation Army. Now, as I always say, that is a lot to digest in one go. You may have the time to go through all of those charities one by one in one go, but I would suggest that you kind of split them up and maybe really look into one charity every couple of days throughout the month of December and really get to kind of affiliate yourself with those charities. Some of them you may know already, some of them I know, some of them I don't. Some of them I've read and I'm like, I really don't know what those charities are. So it's a good opportunity to just take your time and familiarise yourself with those charities, which I always think is a good idea. So don't rush. Don't feel like you have to rush and read them all in one go. Just, take your time and see. Alicia says, I think Archie and his future siblings' families will be a huge factor to focus on too. Jojo says, Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge, is not an heir to the throne. Well, she's not an heir to the throne, but obviously through William, she is going to be queen one day. Cornwall 59 says, Charles is slimming the royal family down for years. Well, we think that's what the intention might be, but we don't actually 100% know. Right, I am going to leave the show here. We've gone through quite a bit of news, and I will obviously consider making this about an hour on a Sunday, potentially from 7 till 8. So, if you have enjoyed this Talk of the Crown edition, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and also do hit that bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Also, please do make sure you are subscribed to the channel. It's very important. So, from me in Shropshire, I bid you all a very good night. Mwah.